Well, I'll come down to Manx Gas. With me is Robert Gardner, with the news that's been breaking today that a new charter, you're producing this new charter. Obviously, a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to current events that have been going on the island. Is that fair to say?
That's how people will probably perceive it. They may well perceive that it's a knee-jerk reaction, but it's not. We've been doing different things over the last sort of 6 weeks or so. We'll launch a Facebook, etc. But I think the key thing is we've certainly been listening to what the customers have been saying, and there's been a lot published recently. So we've listened to what the customers have said. We've worked, as everybody will see from the press, we've been listening to what the government has said, and we've discussed things with them. We're publishing some practices that are existing. They've been there all the time, but we've added some newer ones that we've identified as a consequence of what we've heard from customers about what we've discussed with the government.
How's it taken all this time? I mean, I still find it hard that nothing's particularly has changed. You know, this has been up and running for some time, your pricing structure, but well, 45 people have caused you to do this. Would that be fair to say?
45 people have been.
I'm talking about the ones that turned up for the demonstration.
Turned up and protested, and we've had information on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean the Facebook group is quite large, isn't it?
I think the difference that we're doing now is we've always had this kind of structure in place internally within the business in terms of a kind of charter with standards of service and service level agreements. This is us formally kind of committing to this in public by putting it in the press, putting it out to the media to say to our customers, this is how Manx Gas is looking to operate and serve the customers on the island in the right and proper way. And there are some additions that we've put in there to cover some of the issues that have been discussed recently with regard to standing charges.
You've been quite rattled then as a company, this whole thing.
Not so much rattled as we've recognised that maybe in the past that we've not been as outgoing as we should have been. We believed that we were communicating with our customers.
You just said you're on Facebook only 6 weeks ago. I mean, that's not exactly with it, is it?
No, I think prior to that, we've looked at the business on a basis that we believed that we were dealing with our customers, and we haven't fully utilised the social media that's been available. Mm-hmm. And we looked at it and said, look, we do have to get out there more into the public domain with more information about the business and more information about what we're doing, more information on our commitment to our customers to deliver the right kind of service.
I mean, people just see that you can make 9.99% profit. I mean, that's basically what people are seeing. You know, it's a great company to have that sort of guarantee in your system, isn't it?
If we look at the standing charge, because that's where it all relates to, I suppose. The standing charge, like for the majority of our customers, it really is actually good news. People have kind of split the standing charge from the fuel costs. We've got about 19,800 customers that are on this standing charge structure. And the majority of these customers are paying exactly the same or slightly less than they paid before we introduced it. Mm. It was brought in, and people have reacted, I think, to the summer, where they've seen some of the standing charge thing is much higher than their gas. The thing is, in the winter, and as it approaches, people will actually see a difference in the ratio between the standing charge and the fuel cost. And if they look over the full year, as we said, out of that 19,800, most people are paying exactly the same, slightly less, very marginally over than they were before.
So why did you change it in the first place then?
Because the standing charge that we had in the past didn't truly reflect the fixed costs of the business. Mm-hmm. It's important that we were recovering a very, very small percentage of the fixed costs, which is not good for any business. So the new standing charge reflects around about 60% of the fixed cost of the business being recovered through the standing charge. It also then identifies and splits the fuel cost from the standing charge. So people can see the impact on changes in fuel pricing when we either rise or it reduces, and they can see that within their bills.
But this thing making this profit though, I mean, surely you can lose stuff all over the place and have jollies and all sorts of things going on, because you know that you're going.
No, that's not the reality. The reality is that this is two things. When we brought the standing charge in, the proposal went through OFT, Department of Economic Development and Treasury. That was scrutinised severely by them and us prior to it being introduced into the business. They agreed that it was a good mechanism that we put in place. The regulatory agreement is all party to this, but the regulatory agreement is scrutinised equally as well all the time. But we supply all the information to the OFT on how this business operates in terms of its expenditure, its investment, etc. So they scrutinise it. The Department of Treasury and OFT scrutinise it to make sure that we're not doing just exactly what you suggested, which we're running off down the street going on holiday every day. Sure. No, we are This is a form of a regulatory framework that we've agreed and has been agreed by government that we will work to. And the rationale behind it is to try to provide the customers with the best service, the best value that they can get from something that people can see and it's open and clear about what we're doing.
Now, we keep hearing you can't change anything to the end of 2018, but in fact, as the person, one of the protesters said quite clearly, that if you both got together, you and government, you could change things straight away tomorrow if you wanted to, couldn't you?
You can't. It's not as simple. I mean, it's something that needs to. We've committed to join in with government in the review and the committee that the First Minister has said he's going to pull together. Right. So that's in timescales. That's not going to kick off till early part next year.
Were you surprised that the Chief Minister wanted to have his own little review on top of the OFT's involvement and everything else?
Well, I think the government equally well will put under some pressure by customers and by what was happening in the media, and I think they've responded in that manner. And we said we've agreed that we'll turn and say, well, we will sit down with them and with that committee, and we will review. We don't know what the outcome's going to be because we're going to start it first of all, and I've no doubt that the First Minister will put a team together to come with Manx Gas and go through all the relevant details. At
the end of the day, it's like the deck chairs on Titanic. You'll still make 9.99% profit. It's just it'll be just a different formula at the end of the day, even if you do change anything.
The regulated framework and the fact that the 9.99% is not something that's just been pulled out of the sky. This is something that we sat down with government and discussed, and it was seen as a representative return on capital employed for a company of this nature. This is a kind of micro company. It's a small company where, in comparison, for example, to the UK, you can't.
Yeah, but you operate elsewhere, Channel Islands, don't you? And elsewhere.
Yes, well, that's they are three independent businesses.
Yeah.
While they come under, we operate on 3 international energy group. Manx Gas is an independent, separate.
Do the same deal though with Channel Islands? You make 99.
It's not regulated in the Channel.
So you make more or less. You can do what you want.
Well, it's not a matter of doing what you want. It's about our business is trying to provide the best service we possibly can for the customers and the best value we can for our customers. Here we have a larger customer base than we do in the Channel Islands. So this is treated completely separate in terms of that regulatory framework, and that percentage return that we get was seen as being the type of return expected from a company of this size and this kind of location working to service that type of customers.
What did you make in the Channel Islands in profit-wise last year? Your last accounts, more or less than here?
In terms of what? In terms of returns?
Percentage, yeah.
I've not got that to hand right now. Right. I've not got that. And it doesn't actually impact on what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is Manx Gas and Isle of Man.
Yeah, but if they make less profit, then
Isle of Man is a regulated framework. It's not. It's independent to its operation to the Channel Islands and businesses. And what we're talking about here is the Isle of Man. We're talking about the Isle of Man in terms of what we're putting out as the charter, which is to benefit our customers and identify the issues with the
It looks pretty obvious stuff in the charter. It's just you'll be the best you can. You'll come back to people in 24 hours. There's nothing really besides maybe that you're going to relook at this.
Well, I think you're saying it's obvious, but it's not been obvious to our customers. That's why we produced it. We've had it ourselves, and we've known this and shared it in probably what would be seen as a limited area in terms of our customers. What we're saying is this is a sort of more formal approach to our charter, a more formal approach to what we're going to deliver for our customers, a promise for our customers that we're putting out into the public domain, we're putting out in the press so that people can actually see it. Okay. And it's visible for them.
You've asked people to come in to discuss bills. What sort of uptake did you get on that?
A lot. We had a lot through Facebook, and we responded to quite good.
You got quite a mauling on Facebook, didn't you?
We did, but I think
you expected that.
We were expecting it, and I think that overall we handled it. And I think what happened was we started to get quite positive results back from it, and people started to actually contact us. And when they contacted us and got the full facts about how the standing charge operated, their own bills, because it's all a lot of it's personal. It's not, you can't just sort of pinpoint and blast it over everybody. Somebody coming in with a specific issue, specific concern about their standing charge or their bill, they were dealt with, and
so
we happy.
With hindsight, should this have ever happened in the first place? I mean, is it a PR disaster?
No, I don't think it's a PR disaster. I think what's happened is we started this in January 2016. We published a lot of information about it in 2016. We went through 1 year and we've hit a summer again. And I think the fact we hit summer when you see this differential or this apparent differential between the standing charge and the gas cost has raised it, and people haven't actually remembered what happened in January 15. So part of what we'll be doing is making sure that we get more and more information out to customers and out to people in the public about Manx Gas and how it all works.
You obviously buy ahead for your product. How any bumps in the road likely that you can see? Big sharp increases?
No, hopefully not. We do buy ahead, as you know, but it's not always easy because we don't buy a lot of gas. I mean, we are people need to remember this is a very, very small business in terms of customer base and gas usage. So we are limited in where we can buy ahead, but we do buy ahead when we can, up to around about 6 months in advance, to try to smooth the tariff as much as possible. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what's going to happen to gas or oil prices in the future. That's the economists will tell us that, but we do try to keep an eye and try to get the best value that we possibly can.
And just back to the timetable, your agreement runs with government as it stands. It's December 2018, isn't it?
Yes, the end of 2018.
So when does the negotiations all happen? It'll happen
next
year
what
and be in place?
Well, it'll be part of what happens when the First Minister puts his committee together. Part of that discussion with us will be what are the timelines, etc., in terms of delivering an outcome from the review.
And is there any chance that people's bills will go down?
As a result of what?
You're rejigging. I mean, at the end of the day, will people see a difference in it? In other words, this one tariff goes up it and then you pay less for the gas. Will it just be that again, as I'm saying?
Well, you're looking at the end of the day, as I'm going to go back to this again, what you're looking for is standing charge and fuel costs. Standing charge is there to recover the fixed costs of the business. We still have to recover these fixed costs. Whatever way we put that together in terms of a balance between...
So the bills aren't going to go down?
Well, no, that's not the intent. The intent now is to try to provide something that gives, the intent was and still is to provide something that gives clarity to the customers. That was the original idea, and it remained fair to the customers that nobody would be affected by the changes in terms of the standing charge being raised, but the fuel price being reduced. The tariff was reduced to compensate. And it had to have a certain number of bands in order for it to be fair.
Are you confident you've done everything necessary now for the customer, for your business to be transparent?
Today, I would say for us to be transparent, we've got more to do. We've got more to do to get out, more information to get out to customers. We're developing a programme of information that will be put in the press and put out to the customers so they understand more and more about our business. We are conscious from what we've been listening to that we do probably need to get out there more, be a bit more proactive in terms of publicising ourselves. We don't publicise, I don't think, we're not publicised enough information to guide customers and the general public, so we'll have plans to do that.